Hey, it's your
Uh-oh.
boy Easy.
Uh-oh. What up? It's your boy Ryan.
Oh, and we're back. We're back after
Eric sounding better than ever.
a Millie Billy. Yeah, we got some technical issues that we had to resolve. And so thank you everyone for helping us with that.
Yeah.
And our system, like the thing that takes this is going into this, and you can't see it, but you got to take my word for it. There's a wire that goes into this a machine that's like right here beneath what you're seeing.
Yes.
And that translates it to ones and zeros and sends it to the computer over here. Well, the thing that
Digital
translates
audio
that,
interface.
indeed, that is what it is called. But that thing that does that, it died like 2 weeks ago, and unfortunately, it took us some time to get a new one because that's just the way life is. And so,
After a long life,
yes, oh goodness,
that interface lasted the humble Roland Octocapture.
Right here, everybody.
Oh yeah, there he is. We gotta give him a salute here.
A turtle soup salute.
Yes, the spoons up.
Spoons up.
For the Octocapture. That guy has been around. It originally replaced Eric's MBox 2 Pro.
It did.
And it was the best sounding thing we ever did to get off those. And then he used that for not all of Turtle Soup, but a ton of it. I mean, a ton of it. Back when we were still doing episodes in person. Way back into that.
Goodness. Yeah.
And it finally bit the dust. We had a week of trying to figure out what was wrong with it. Then we had a week of getting the interface and getting it integrated. So now he's sitting on a nice new interface.
Yes.
Focusrite Scarlett, baby.
Yes. So be
What
sure.
I'm saying?
Be sure to let us know if there's any issues. If for those of you watching on YouTube right now, and if you're not, then come over here because that's what we're doing. And like and subscribe. We're like a few couple 25 or something, I don't know, from 500 subs. So if you haven't, come do that now. But in proper fashion, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves because we had to catch up a little bit about what the technical issues. But hold on, baby birds, because here we go.
Oh,
this is Turtle Soup, the internet, nay, the world's only listener-supported, community-supported podcast dedicated to the ongoing journey of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all the way from the beginning until I become a world-famous watercolor painter on TikTok.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds like a achievable goal.
I know. But, I mean, once that happens, I think I could too. But I don't know. We'll talk more about that later. I've got some visual aids to show you, to share with you, actually.
Oh.
So yeah. So that's that.
Can't wait to get those aids on my face.
Oh my goodness, that's a throwback if I ain't heard one. So, well, speaking of all that, again, like I said, we're on YouTube, so come help us get to 500 and then 5,000 and then 5 million. And then if all 5 million of y'all give us $1, we can give y'all back something, just more soup.
Yeah.
And that's how that works. 99 pennies. Exactly. And so thank you again for everyone who's already done that and who is here tonight. We really appreciate you. But most of all, gotta say, hands down, the show would not be here. Literally, like we would not be doing this tonight if it was not for our patrons. The wonderful people that we call family that literally have kept us. Well, we did say Clang, but we're not continuing to say Clang.
No.
So yeah, like we stopped saying Clang because of them, and they're wonderful.
We said Clang, but then when you lifted up our little Foot Clan robes, it was just our pocket protector.
Exactly.
With our protractor in it that went Clang,
right?
And we're okay.
That's all it was. Yeah, so we're okay now. But that is only because of the concerted effort of Patron Ranger, our family, long time. Ranger. Blood of our blood.
We call him family.
We call him family. And if you would like to be called family, you can do that. Patreon.com. Turtle Soup's done been making a podcast, and they still be making a podcast. And yeah, right now we want to shout out to people that have been there for us and just got us through this dark time. And that is Jake Niehaus and Blade Slinger 71113. There we go. Man.
I'll run it back again. This interface blew up, and we had to have it. We had money in the kitty from all of our awesome Patreon supporters, and we got that boy shipped quick, you know what I'm saying?
Split.
And lickety split, and we're right back up and sounding better than ever. And it's thanks to our patrons. So for as little as $1, you can get a shout out, and you can go up from there. We do t-shirts and all this different stuff. So come check it out. And this is one of those times, we always thank our patrons, but when the tech issues hit hard,
right,
and you're faced with it, and you go, wow, we have like the money to get this and keep rolling,
right,
without putting ourselves out. It's when you really like you see that, you know what I'm saying? Like you see that connection, you're like, oh man, that patron ranger, that
fruits
family,
of our labor.
What I mean,
they're kind of like the fruits of our loins.
They are the fruits of our loins.
I
mean,
and
that's sometimes we're tempted by the fruit of another.
Fruit of another.
You know what I mean? But we're never tempted away from the fruit of our patrons.
That's true.
And if you've been a patron currently, or you've been one in the past, know that you've helped us inevitably and immeasurably.
Yes.
So yeah. You want to hear where we're at on the journey?
I desperately want to hear where we're at. Yes, tell me.
The dates are April 24th and April 27th, respectively, of 1998, as we cover episodes 19 and 20 of Ninja Turtles and Mutation. If you've watched these, especially episode 19, you know what I'm saying? 19, important number in Stephen King's Dark Tower series, not an important number in the Mutation series. We have that coming at you, and then potentially a funny one. It really depends on how Eric and I bounce on it.
And
you know what I mean? Is it rope-a-dope? Are we going to wind up loving it? I mean, that you tell.
You have to.
But the episodes are called Like Brothers and Going Ape.
Yes.
So if you're listening to this in the past or in the future, and you're like, man, I ain't seen them. Check them out. They're available on YouTube, and let us know. And we'll we can go from there.
Well, it's been a minute, man. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing pretty good. I'm getting back into archery. I told myself I was gonna, double down because I've been doing so much bike riding.
Right.
My blood sugar stuff's in really good shape, so we're just taking care of that, getting on that bike every day.
Yeah.
Biking around. Let's see. So yeah, getting back into archery with my man Brad. You know what I mean? We went up to the dam range the other day, last week, and just knocked the dust off. You know what I'm saying? Just one thing I hate, and I don't know if I'm sure almost everybody hates this. I just don't know. Maybe we all hate it at different levels. But I have a real issue with if I haven't been somewhere in a while.
Okay.
And I go back somewhere where, because you know me, man, if I'm somewhere longer than 5 minutes, I made a friend. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like I got a buddy.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hands down.
So if it's somewhere like the game shop or the archery range, I have people, that are there, or they're wondering where the hell I am. I hate when you come back somewhere.
Yeah.
And they're like, where you been?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God damn. Like, it makes me want to die. I know that, and this is why I said, if you're listening, you're probably like, yeah, no one likes that, Ryan. There are two situations socially that to me make me feel like I'm dead inside.
Okay.
And there aren't many because I'm a pretty social person.
Right.
One of is the pre-mentioned. You know what I'm saying? Like oh goddamn, haven't seen you. And I can't stand that.
Yeah.
The other one is I'm a very empathetic individual. I can kind of like really read social situations, and I can really read people's emotions.
Right.
When somebody is talking and not being paid attention to, like they're trying to say something, but other people are ignoring them or talking over them,
right?
Or there's something wrong, like something's weird. Man, I want to die. Like I just want to absolutely die. It puts me in. It's like petting a cat the wrong way, kind of shit. That's how I feel inside my soul.
Oh yeah.
So went there and knocked that dust off, literally and figuratively, because got to hear a lot about that. Then once that got okay, we went to shooting our bows, and that's where we literally knocked some dust off because his bows been sitting there for a while.
Of course.
Brad had an arrow explode in his bow.
What?
Which I'd always heard could happen.
Does he have?
He went to shoot, and it exploded. One piece hit his forearm. His bow holding arm.
Right.
So hard it left like an instant black welt on his arm.
Goodness.
Like it was wow. He was lucky because sometimes that part of the arrow will go into your arm. He's lucky that it glanced off. The arrow broke into about 5 pieces before it ever made it out of his bow. and that's from bad carbon, right? Like the carbon of the arrow had a crack in it somehow. And normally when we were shooting a lot, we'd flex our arrows all the time.
Yeah.
Like you do that. You flex them, and if you hear any sounds, that arrow's done, right? Because modern arrows are made of, hollow carbon shafts, and they're very lightweight and strong, but if they crack, they can fail. And when when you have a bow at full draw, especially these bows that we're shooting, they exert a ton of force when you set the release. I mean, it shoots that thing out fast. And if the shaft of the arrow isn't structurally solid, I mean, it's going to fail. So that happened. And make sure he was okay. The one of the women that worked there saw exactly what happened, and she told her daughter, she's like, go get ice.
Oh, dang.
And Brad's like, no, I'm good. She's like, that's going to be black in about, I don't know, 10 seconds. And he's like, what? And we looked down, and it went from red. It was like a color changing mug. It went from red to black, like instantly. We're like, what? And she's like, yeah, that's hard. So he got some ice on there, but he got back on the horse. You know what I'm saying? He got back on the shot again, but he flexed all of his arrows, and another one broke while he was flexing it.
Oh, dang.
Which means there was a potential second one that would have blown up on him.
Goodness.
So that had me flexing all my arrows. My 10 arrows were fine.
Well, now do we think that this was the samurai character that was there? Was this possible sabotage?
Oh, I mean, the samurai, I mean, we weren't at the range, but he could have come to the house. You know what I mean? I think I would have heard him.
That's true, because samurai and ninja are two different things.
I'd be like, oh, shit. Like, I would have heard him.
Oh, yeah, because he does that.
I mean, samurai and ninja. Yeah. Samurai and ninja are two different things. I don't know, but it was really weird. And knowing at the range really had an explanation. I was like, well, they've been sitting in the garage, and they're like, that doesn't do anything. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, something happened. I don't know. Either way. But yeah, so that was cool. And that's kind of been it. Going to Snowcat Ridge with the family on Saturday.
Oh, nice. Okay. Is that that's the Arctic place here in Florida?
Yeah, it's in Dade City, where they have artificial snow, and that you can like sled and do different stuff and whatever.
That's cool.
Yeah, so excited about that. And that's kind of it on my side. How about you?
Oh man. Well, besides getting all the technical issues rounded up, I've been like going back into Mega Man because longtime listeners know I'm a huge Mega Man fan, and the company Jada Toys got the license for a lot of Capcom stuff. So they're making Street Fighter figures, and they're making Mega Man figures that look amazing. And I had the SH Figuarts, but it's D-Arts Mega Man that I loved. And their Ryu fell on that figure, and the plastics like did something, and it made the paint melt on Mega Man. It was very weird. And so I had to get rid of him. But then they're coming out now and that toy was like $50 or whatever. It went for an exorbitant amount of money. But now the new ones are like $20, and they're made, at least they're distributed here in America as opposed to being imported. And so I'm really excited about that. So I've been going back and playing the old NES games and stuff. And,
nice.
Yeah, I just beat 6, and now I'm gonna go start 7 and get into all that. And that's a lot of fun. And that got me on like a whole retro video game thing. So I've been playing anything I could get with like the old arcades and stuff. So I played the old. Do you remember the old Spider-Man arcade game that had Hawkeye, Namor, and Black Cat in it?
Yes.
It was like the side scroller.
They had that at the ABC Pizza Dungeon.
Did they really? Oh my goodness. That's amazing. Okay. Yeah, we only had it, I think, at the what we called the Fun Machine, which, use your imagination. Yeah. But I love that.
I mean, that's where you get all your packages from, and your parents friends say what?
Yeah, exactly. They're like the Fun Machine from the Fantasy Factory. Yep. All the alliteration.
Yep. That's my son.
Yep, that's me.
That's my boy. That's my 40-year-old boy.
I love that game so much though, and so I played it all the way through, and it was amazing, and I really enjoyed that. Nice. But then, as I mentioned earlier, so TikTok is wonderful. Like I love it because it just shows me. It's basically like scrolling through or flipping channels through like just a bunch of public access television, and you just got like all these weird channels, and it's amazing. And I had been seeing a lot of painting tutorials and drawing tutorials. And on top of that, my I guess Shannon, my wife's grandmother. So my grandma-in-law, is that how that goes? I don't know.
Yes.
But
absolutely.
she sends us cards and different things like that. And she's been watercoloring and painting and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I want to do this. And so I want to unveil my first piece. And if you're ready, do you want me? Yeah. Oh geez, Lord of mercy.
If this isn't Leo and Raph on that motorcycle saying "Let's ride" or whatever,
I know.
Upset.
It's so I think what it's inspired by is that I also finished Attack on Titan, which was amazing, and I absolutely loved it. And I think this is somewhat inspired by the last bit, but I didn't know what I was painting. I just started.
Guy? Okay.
It's just a big naked guy. No, it's this. I don't really know what is happening. It's if you're an audio listener, you'll have to come to YouTube and check it out. But
it's like a watermelon slice with a cow's butt.
A cow's butt? Where do you see the cow's butt?
On the it's a tree.
It's a
I didn't see you had it too low in frame. I didn't see the other branch coming around the tombstone, so it just looked like a cow's like kind of sitting down with his butt.
I get you. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Now I see it though. I see the tree now. Okay. Yeah. And then the little I don't know what those are.
It's just
I see the gravestone, but I don't know what the little watermelon seeds are.
I don't know why. I painted the gravestone. I started with that, and then I went to the tree, and then I was like, I just want to paint a watermelon in here, and I did that in the negative space.
I like it.
Yeah, and I was like, what's something funny to just put on a tombstone? And I just put okay.
Okay.
I don't know, but yeah, that's. That was my first foray into it. I went and got watercolor paper and everything and did it, and it's pretty neat. And it's very cathartic, as I'm sure you know with painting anything really.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, no, you could put all your time into it and it's really fun to see the other end of it.
Oh yeah, and it's wild. But yeah, no, that's what I've been up to. So yeah. We do have something to talk about real quick too that is actually Turtles related for those of you who are just now
we do
or new to us. So a while back, one of our good buds, friend, blood of our blood, if we call him family.
Oh yeah, every day.
Robbie James sent us a package, and it was a big package, as he is to do. Robbie doesn't send tiny packages. He's not that type of man. He's a big package guy.
He ain't got the baby D.
He ain't got the baby D. He got the baby the big daddy D. That's getting weird.
No, you gotta watch out for that one.
Yeah, we gotta watch. We're on YouTube. We gotta be careful. But no, sent like this massive package to us, and I always appreciate that. And because it's nice whenever someone's like, "Oh, what's this?" and it's like, "Oh, one of our listeners thought of us."
Oh yeah,
and sent us a big package. And
I'm getting my stuff out of his plastic prison right now.
Oh, nice. And the only reason we haven't really discussed it is because I needed to make sure I could get it to Ryan first before we talked about it on the show. And Ryan is now opening it up right here, live.
I want to save it for the live experience.
Yeah,
I knew Eric had some stuff.
He did,
and we had to use Father Preston to get it across the border.
Yes. He also he threw in there some little cards too, so that was really cool. I saw those, and that was neat.
Ooh.
And then we got these nice frames. I'll say that just as a little precursor. Very nice frames. I was like, these don't feel like Dollar Tree frames at all, because that's what I'm used to.
No, they're not.
This is high class. This is a taste, Robbie. You're giving us a taste of like a different society that we're not used to, and I just appreciate that you're not gatekeeping frames. But so here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
So he sent us framed sketches of Leonardo. Well, let's see. Yeah, Leonardo and Donatello from the first movie, and it's pretty sick. Like the ones that April did.
They're super sick. Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know. That's just really awesome. That's one of my favorite movies of all time, not just because I'm on a Ninja Turtles podcast, but just in general. But also one of my favorite parts of that movie is her drawing these sketches and to have them framed in these super nice frames.
It goes back to that Mirage issue 11.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, so he said he got a good deal on him, which I hope he did, because like that's kind of the thing. I love a good deal. I always love a good deal. And on top of that, he gave us a signed. Let's see if I can get it in the frame. A signed script that is from the movie. Let's see, what is it? It's page. I think it's. Oh goodness, is it? It's either 119 or 181, but. Yeah, from Todd W. Landgren, the screenwriter from TMNT 1990 and TMNT 2 1991. And there's a little sketch on there with a turtle saying Eric and Ryan, and Turtle Soup-a-bunga up at the top. So yeah,
that's so good. But, man,
so that's really awesome. And yeah, and it's got Raph saying bitchin' on it. So that's so this is like at the end of this is at the end of the movie. This is like the last bit. That's awesome.
Did you say 9.95 on there?
Oh, I'm looking because that might be because I haven't read the whole thing. It does not, unfortunately, but yeah, but it does have the always liked cowabunga.
Yeah,
but the one thing I want to ask though, this is kind of weird of me. So you see where it says Eric and Ryan on the screen?
Yeah.
So he's using that's not necessarily the ampersand, but it's the other and sign, right? Like the 3 with the line through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the way that they did it was theirs is a 3 with the line through it, but I think I do an E with the line through it. What do you know what you do? Do you ever use this?
If I do and?
Yeah, if you do and, but it's not the ampersand.
I do the little cross with like the
upside down 4?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
I don't.
Oh, have I done? No, I don't do that. So I do this one, but I don't know what this one is actually called. But I don't think I do a 3. I think I do an E instead with the line through it. And
well, I mean, for easy,
of course, it's my initial. I have the most experience writing an E. So I mean, like,
you write it the most often. I mean, that's one of your big letters.
Probably in the top 100 people in the world that write the letter E if they rank us all.
I got no E in my name.
Like zero.
Nowhere, first, middle, or last. I have no E
at all. I am the only E in your life, probably.
I got to be among the person potentially with the most P's.
Oh,
P is a weird name to have, a weird letter to have in your name.
Is it?
I think so.
P? Like as in pterodactyl?
As in pterodactyl.
Okay.
Think about the number of people you know the first, middle, and last name for. And tell me how many you got that's got more than one P in it.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know Paul Calico's middle name. But if it ain't got a P, he's got less P's than me.
That's true. Less P's than me.
You know what I mean?
I do. Okay.
Father Preston.
Yeah.
Full name, 1P.
1P.
I mean,
two U's though. Well, double U.
What's Shannon McCrosby's middle name? Marie?
Yeah, I think so. Wrong? Not officially, but yes. She literally doesn't have a middle name. Like her mom, they forgot to put that on there. So she said it was supposed to be.
She really doesn't have a middle name?
Yeah. No, it's not on any certificate or anything.
Oh, that's crazy. So
yeah.
Oh man, so if she like becomes a serial killer, that's gonna be rough.
Yeah, that's the
you gotta have that middle name.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, we gotta figure that out.
So did she change her last name?
She did to Mick Crosby. No, she didn't do Mick Crosby, but she did.
Okay, we call her Mick Crosby.
Right. Yeah, no, she changed it.
Did she
add the
make her middle name her maiden name?
No, I don't think so. No.
That's a lot of women do.
Yeah. No, she just I think she just changed her Facebook name to that. So
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I just had another one. My wife in her maiden name form, 1P.
1P. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I'm serious. I want to check chat right now because we're on this.
Okay. Yeah, I was just about to say, let's check chat real quick because I'm sure somebody's chiming in. We got JRR24 Peter Piper.
Peter Piper.
That's so good.
Got him.
Of course.
Yeah, no, Peter Piper. Yeah, he's got me on peas.
Oh yeah, all day. Especially if you picked up paper peppers.
Where you been? In the chat. Because it's kind of funny because we're coming back after a long time off, so it's like the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, JR24 hitting the chat a lot. Hitting up that Mega Man. Remembers watching Mutation? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I do. I wish I could forget this episode though. Jeez.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Jake's in the chat, John Clemens, Noah, Michael McDonald's, Ryan Ragland. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's in the chat. All we got is Peter Piper in the chat. But
I don't know if you.
I'm gonna pop out and say, as a guy. All right, so you guys want to know the secret? The secret's this. So my middle name is Philip.
Mm-hmm.
So I get those 2 P's in there. You know me as Ryan Guy. You're like, Ryan Guy. Where's 2 P's hiding in that name?
Are they?
You know
silent?
what I'm saying? Anyone with the first name Philip. So like I have a buddy named Phil. So I mean he's got me with it, and his last name doesn't have P's, but his middle name I don't know. So I'm just saying, P's are pretty rare. That's all I'm saying.
P's are pretty,
and
rare.
I think P could be one of the rarest letters in names.
You might be onto something.
But I ain't got no E's.
You ain't got no E's though. But E's get thrown around a lot.
I have
rarely at the beginning.
I only have 2 vowels in my name.
Yeah.
Out of the 4.
And one of them's not even a vowel. Or it's kind of sometimes one. It's indifferent.
You got 3. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You got 3.
I know.
That blows.
Yeah.
No, I'm mad.
I didn't mean to.
I don't know why I'm so mad about this. I'm like super mad about this now.
You could buy a vowel.
It just hit me that like I'm vowel. I mean, I was already man. If I could buy a vowel, I'm already messed up. Wait a minute. No, I have 3. Never mind. What?
Okay, yeah. Because I'm not looking at. I don't know.
I got A, U, and I.
This is almost as bad as doing math on the mic.
This is damn as bad.
But
I just literally said I only had 2.
It might actually be more embarrassing. So one time I had a friend.
Ryan Guy.
So I had a friend who was like, who was adept at spelling your name backwards, like anyone's name. Like he just do it just real quick. Not like he'll get back to you and he texts it back to you. Like
sure.
Backwards.
Yeah.
Like look at what I can do.
Yeah.
But no, we'd be out and he'd just be like, just run it. And I thought that I was going to be slick. And I was like, oh yeah, mine's just rice. And it was like, nope. Just instantly like, no.
You had your name all messed up, bro. Rice.
Yeah. So Father Preston probably remembers that story.
Those 2 letters.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're all there.
Easy.
It's just not the right word. Yeah. Easy works way better. But and then the chat's saying that X is probably more rare. That's true.
No, X would be very rare. At least in American culture for sure.
Right, but the thing about X though, X is gonna give it to you though, regardless.
That's true. That's
There's
true.
Songs about
it. That's facts because I heard it in more than one place. All right.
That's excellent.
Thank you very much, Robbie James. You are a legend.
Yes,
we love
Robbie,
the gifts. Thank you so much for going out of your way in these expensive frames. You know what I'm saying? And I'm all about it.
Like my wife said once we got them, she's like, "You've changed." She's like, "Something's changed. You're different."
Yeah,
and I think I've been made a better man because of
you
this,
were
Robbie. Hollywood easy.
Yep.
There we go. You know what I'm saying?
Well, are we ready to get into these contents?
I'm afraid to, but I think so. Yeah, this is.
So I'm going to take the first one because I'll do it.
Okay, thank you.
It's the least I can do.
That's the least you could do.
The notes.
I appreciate it because it was a horde. I don't know why I said
now
I'm throwing weird vowels in everywhere.
I'll be honest. I don't want to get because we have people in chat saying like, "Oh, I remember this was great." I'm like I've liked a lot of Mutation. I've gone on record. You and I, if you go back to those episodes, we've been doing this. We've been making this podcast with the Mutation here for like the last year, which is so sad.
Yes.
I like a lot of these.
Yes,
this is an episode that if you only watched this is the episode where you're like, this show's a goddamn joke. I'm out. Like,
right.
But anyway, let's get to the intro so we can cut it. You ready?
Yes. Yes.
Ninja Turtles, The Next Mutation, episode 19, Like Brothers. You know what I'm saying? April 24th, 1998.
Woo.
This episode happened. It did.
It did.
They shot it. They used a lot of other footage they didn't have to shoot. They probably shot this in about half a day. And the story between flashbacks feels like they did write it in half a day.
Yeah.
So this is, I'm just going to give everybody this right now. And I don't mean to just make a big deal out of bagging on this episode. This episode is going to be very hard to review.
It is.
This is effectively a clip show. And it makes some vain attempts at trying to like tie different moments from the show into Raph and Leo's like kind of antagonism toward each other that we've seen previously. It tries to do it.
It does.
But it is really all over the place. So we're just gonna go and we're gonna, Godspeed. You know what I'm saying?
Best.
So this opens up with Raph and Leo Boom Boom Nardo fighting and sparring, but it doesn't seem so much like sparring because it's happening in the middle of the actual lair while Mikey's trying to like make food, but he's also doing color commentary on the fight. And Venus shows up and his special ingredient for the shake he's trying to make is one of Venus's power balls or something. Yeah. I don't fully understand. It's not given any time because like Leo and Raph are like fighting and there's like fart sounds and spring sounds happening, like sound effects happening like all underneath this.
Yeah.
So it's a mess. Like the episode opens up as an actual mess.
Right.
Like you don't know what's going on. So Raph makes fun of Leo and kind of talks about him being a leader in a way I thought was way out of bounds. Like, yeah. This is where I start off. He literally says, "You're a joke. You're not a leader. And we only keep you around because we feel sorry for you." And I'm like, holy, those are words we don't come back from, man.
Yeah, no, you can't just...
that's really bad. Like that. And this is what makes me feel off. All right, so you got this mess going on. And you're thinking like, all right, so like, what's the episode about though? This is like obviously the cold open is they're fighting, and then we're gonna get into an episode.
Right.
Very slowly, you see this, and you're like, oh, because this show does a pretty good job of like actually laying down themes and picking them back up in an episode. Like it actually surprisingly does that. You start thinking, oh, this is a big Raph and Leo come to heads maybe episode. Which we saw some stuff like that in previous episodes. So, but Raph starts out with that, and you're like, well, I really hope this pays off.
Yeah.
Because those words are bad.
It sounds like the stuff you say like when you're exiting like the your job. Like you're not coming back. Like you got a new job. You're like, forget you, you're cool, forget you.
That is, yes, that is literally you find out that your friend was like stalking your girlfriend for 6 months, and like you get on his phone and he's got like pictures through a window, kind of shit.
Right.
These are the words you say when you're like, that's unforgivable. I'm out.
Right.
And let me just put some salt on top because screw you. Right.
Exactly.
This is not, I'm your brother and I'm just going to say these mean things to you. The other thing about Raph, his anger comes out as like he kind of blows his lid and walks away. Like he doesn't just sit there and like, I don't know, like cut to the core. So that was kind of BS. Well, Raph's like basically thinks he's won because Leo takes a pause over those traitorous words. I mean, those are like I'm out words. But Leo retaliates by running and doing a jump kick that somehow hits Raph in like the femur.
Yeah.
And could break it, I guess. I mean, did you know that before 1940, a broken femur was like an 80% death sentence?
No, I did not know this.
Yes.
Huh.
Like that bone is so big and there's so many arteries around it, and it's so like it's so close to your trunk. Like a broken femur was like you're 80% gonna die. Dead ass. It doesn't matter how you broke it. You could have broken it at the hospital. It doesn't matter.
Now here's the thing. With that knowledge, we got to remember that most of the turtles' knowledge comes from pop culture and antiquated books that get flushed down the toilet or down the drain or whatever. So chances are Leonardo knew that information. And
you're saying that was a killing stroke?
That was a killing strike, because you're talking like you got big talk. You're talking big. Leo's going to come at you.
Let's see. I do the broken femur.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, it's rough. But I remember reading that somewhere, and I was like, "That's wild." And then I think in 1940 they figured out like how to go in there and set it with pins and like fix it. But before that, it was like broken femur. You're basically dead.
Right.
Which I just blew my mind.
Yeah. That's
like wild. I was like, really? Huh. Anyway. Yeah. So. And that Sims Raph flying, and then we get our introduction where the turtles are actually all cool and friends, and then we come back to this mess where Mikey ran out to get ice, but instead got a bunch of frozen food because they didn't have ice. Venus kind of like straps that thing onto Raph's leg. Leo comes in, and the two start telling stories of how the other one did something to each other, like remember that time that you ran out of nowhere? And it's just a clip of the time that Raph, like, they have an argument, and Raph goes and gets attacked by the Foot Clan on his own.
Right.
And Splinter had to come bail him out. And they kind of keep like bickering and showing these flashbacks until Leo throws down his sword, ties some frozen veggies to his like Raph so they can face off fair and square.
I love that.
It doesn't make any sense because Raph's injured.
Right.
This leads to a whole nother thing. So while they're still fighting, Don and Mikey start arguing over if Leo and Raph are in the right or wrong. And that leads to even more flashbacks about stuff that we've already seen. And we got to a sequence where we see Leo and Raph sparring in like different costumes.
Oh, let me get there. Because there's so many weird things.
Yeah. Almost like they just do a different thing with it.
It's bizarre, and the way it's filmed is I don't know if you picked up on this, but it feels
it's like low frame rate, like a 30s film.
Yes, and it feels like almost like it's stop motion in a weird way. But I kind of liked it a little bit.
I think part of the reason it's also stop motion feeling is because of the lightsabers at the end. Because they were probably doing the old draw it on,
right?
And they didn't want to draw on that many frames of that shit for a gag. That's like they could literally cut down the frames by half,
right,
to actually draw in the lightsabers.
Which is, I don't know, it's so weird. Like I think
it's a little bit of like a classic like crackhead aside, which is strange for the tone that like. So this literally breaks from reality.
It does, because
this show kind of never does that.
It doesn't.
Like they're shown with lightsabers with buckets on their heads, which I guess is supposed to be a Darth Vader thing.
Yeah, and you can see through. You can see through his face. Like you can see his face through the helmet.
Yeah,
like there's his eye.
It's weird.
Super bizarre. Yeah. But you're right. I hadn't thought about it like that. That this is a break in reality. And they don't really do that outside of like the mysticism kind of stuff, like outside of the what is it, the astral plane,
like on the astral plane and stuff like that. Yeah, no, like that's kind of that. But this is supposed to be like for the funnies,
right?
But like I understand them doing the Three Musketeers looking thing with the rapiers, like right? They do the kind of the classic samurai with the swords. Yes. They do that, and then it moves to the era. It goes samurai, it goes Three Musketeers with the fencing swords, then it goes dead on Star Wars with lightsabers. And
yeah, no mistake.
Just take this frame and say this is from an actual Turtles made thing. And people would be like, "Is that canon?" Like, apparently,
yes.
It's really weird.
It's very bizarre. Out of the garbage heap that this episode is, I did enjoy this part. This part was kind of fun.
I mean, that was pretty cool.
It was, and I like the Three Musketeers look because it reminds me a little bit of the cover of Turtles in Time, where I think Raphael might be on the cover, looking very similar to how he looks here with the rapier and the hat and cape and all that. And so that kind of was neat for me. But yeah, you're right. Like it's very bizarre, and the others are just sitting there watching
like that. Yeah, no, they're all watching like the lightsabers, and I'm like, if you guys had lightsabers, it'd be game over.
Oh, absolutely. And then it devolves into pillows.
It does. It gets into pillow fighting and whatever. And then the spar ends with both Leo and Raph digging the dirt. And they decide to arm wrestle where the loser has to move out of Turtle HQ.
It's so good. It's so good. I love that. It just evolved to this.
It just evolves to that. And it's almost like a coin flip. Yes. And then Leo beats Raph, which makes Raph have to leave the HQ.
Yes.
So we're back in the lair again after a short little cut to the street, which I mean, that was probably the best part of the episode. I was like, oh yeah, more New York streets in the 90s. Yeah. Oh God, I'm back. Leah, this is the part where I'm like, this is the part where I texted you. I texted Eric. I'm just going to pull back the curtain. I said, this is so hard to watch. Like, this episode is so hard to actually watch. Like, my mind was like rebelling. My mind was like, do something else. Go use the bathroom. Go for a walk. Like, and I'm like, no, I have to watch this. Right. It was trying anything. It was like, oh, go do your taxes. I'm like, nope, got to do this. And Leo is punching a punching bag, and he's saying wrath every time he punches the punching bag. Yeah. Which is the most like un-Leo thing you could ever do. Why would that is not a Leo move? That's a Raph move. Yes. It looks stupid because Raph's on his way. He's like packing up his stuff to leave. And I can see Leo gloating. Yeah. And picking on him while he's doing it. But is Leo the guy to ever attack a punching bag and say someone's name over and over again? It's like such an immature, stupid moment.
It is.
Like, and it feels like it was made for the funnies again, but it's not funny. It's dumb. It just makes no sense.
It would make sense if it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but it's just Ninja Turtles here. So they should be past Ninja Turtles. If Leo did do this,
why would he have that aggression? Why would he have that like pouty infantile aggression and saying Raph's name? Raph's right there. Like, you got something to say to me? Come punch me again.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. If I'm hearing that, honestly, as I'm packing up my bags, if I'm Raph, I'm laughing at Leo hard. I'm like, totally. What are you doing? You're like a baby, bro. Yeah. Like, dead serious. So we see that like Raph's packing his suitcase. And it's like, obviously he's sitting on the couch and there's like a hole in the bottom. So the whole gag is he puts things in there that he could possibly put in, like his guitar and stuff like that. It's just like a luggage case. So then Dawn and Mike come back in and they're arguing, and Dawn says that if Leo goes, he goes. And it's like, okay, what's that mean? Then Raph kind of like decides like, oh yeah, that's my punching bag. And he takes it and puts it in his suitcase. So now Leo can't punch it anymore. Yeah. And then Venus shows up and says they're acting like children, and there's more flashbacks as she tries to convince them that they're there for each other in the past.
Right.
We see now, this is the mysterious one, and we have to address episode order. There's a clip where where Venus is trying to convince Leo that Raph's a good person. And there's a scene we see of him taking care of a character named Andre, like back in the lair. Now, we're pretty sure this is the guy that Splinter was playing chess with in the park. And this episode may be out of order. We are going by the original episode order that was on Wikipedia and Turtlepedia and all these different things when we first started doing this.
Yes.
At some point, the internet changed.
It did.
Literally, much to our chagrin, because we have these listed out.
Yeah.
And put them in all different orders. There's a chance as we go, we may see this episode where he does take care of Andre, but we haven't seen this yet.
We haven't seen that. Did you mention that he was the guy that was playing chess?
Yeah, they was playing chess with Splinter really early on, like on that night chess.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're probably going to see a episode where Andre is more of a thing, but you know, right now he's just taking care of an old elderly man and putting him to bed, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So then she asks Raph if he really wants to leave. And then he says yes, but then he thinks about, sorry, this is Leo. This is so confusing. We're almost done, I promise. Leo starts thinking about, who's going to keep their vehicles running, because Raph does that.
He's the mechanic.
Which surprises me, because it sounds like Donnie be the one to do that, but I don't know. So then Leo decides he's going to be the one that leaves. And then they fight over that, but then Venus is finally able to get through to all of them. Right. But they're all ridiculous, and everybody kind of calms down and sits on the couch, and she goes to meditate, and then the turtles just turn to making fun of her altogether, all four of them. Like, they're like, yeah, who would listen to a broad? Yeah, oh yeah, ha ha ha. And I'm like, what? And they're weird. Back to that.
Yeah.
They're and Donnie and Mikey in on the joke. Leo in on the joke. Yes. Everyone's laughing at Venus, like, oh yeah, like what's she worth? And I'm like, are we back to that shit? We finished that with East Meets West, dude. Like I mean, we finished that crap back then. Then everyone got integrated. And yes, there was an episode where Donnie and her have a spirited debate about scientific, cynicism versus spiritualism. That was a cool episode.
It was.
They can have little things with each other.
Sure.
Leo and Raph had kind of a good leadership problem in an episode we did recently.
Right.
Where Leo had to learn to lead for real because Raph was kind of like messing with his leadership and was kind of leading on his own and saying they lost confidence in Leo. And Leo had to learn to lead by example and be a good leader. They can still have little issues with each other. But going right back to like Venus is dumb girl. Yeah. Who cares about that girl? I'm like, and by the way, if you haven't seen this episode, it wasn't like they were playing around. Like they were like just making fun of her like they used to as kind of like a joke, doing like ironically.
Right.
This is how they rebond with each other.
Yeah.
Is by going back to that.
They realize that they say here, you ticked her off, and they're like, oh, and then that kind of like refocuses them. But then they reassess, and all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, but like she's a woman. Like, why do we care what she thinks? And I guess what they're trying to do here is they're trying to appeal to young boys maybe in the 90s. And somehow I guess that's an opinion that young boys probably had, or I can see like that being
then someone should have called someone gay.
Well,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? At what point do we, what point are we doing? Or what are we doing?
Yeah, right. Where do you draw that line? Like, because obviously they did not grow up in the 90s if they didn't do that. And so, but that's what I think is kind of happening here. And it's a little tone deaf, especially considering that they're not supposed to be teenagers anymore. They're supposed to be a little bit more mature. But this is someone who has saved the turtles multiple times, who has who heals them constantly, is like going around
herbal medicine,
doing all that, and then
got their dead. That the clip where they don't know how the hell to get to the plane, like they can't get to the astral plane. I'm trying to remember the name they call it. They have a name for that area, and I cannot remember it, and it's killing me. I forget what that is. But they can't get there. But then they start doing a dick measuring contest to show Venus how awesome they are in combat, and Venus is able to harness their dumb show-off combat energy and get them to the astral plane, and saves their freaking dad, from the clutches of a mind dragon, killing his soul in the astral plane. Right. This same woman.
Yes. Like
who rolled up on Orokusaki, someone who the turtles in their entire teenage and after teenage career could not touch, made him look at his own reflection and destroyed his soul.
Yes.
On her first sortie, her first mission out of the lair.
Right.
Says, we're going to take care of that Foot Clan problem.
Right.
And tells Oroku Saki, look at your goddamn reflection in those cool blades you got. Mm-hmm. Look at the man you are. Soul death.
Yes. And then
that
they want to drop this. Yeah, like her opinion really matters.
It really matters.
Really does. It really does.
It actually super does.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole thing. Venus was not something added to this show like later on.
Right. Like she wasn't the cousin that came in
to be a gag or to pick it up in season 2.
Right.
Venus was there literally from the onset of the show.
Right.
She's seen in disguise the first episode.
And if
if
she's trying, if and to that point, because I hadn't actually thought about it like that in that regard, but like you would think that they would want to get female viewers to give them a point of view character, and they're presenting them with this. Now, someone in the chat, I just checked real quick, said this, but I was thinking it too, that this seems like something that this is an adolescent way of handling your emotions towards someone you like, or a stereotype of that trope, I guess, where you're just passive aggressive and just mean to someone that you actually like, which we have seen that Raphael has feelings for both and or Leonardo and or Venus based on the drawings that we saw on the crayon. And so, I mean, I can see an argument for that, but it just, they don't handle it well. It's not done right. If you let me know that a little bit. Now, I don't need everything spelled out for me, but at the same time, it's like, this seems just mean.
You want to come back to the gender thing too? Here's my thing. Like you want to come back to the gender thing just because Venus is welcomed into the family and we're operating under that premise.
Right.
Does not mean that can't get a little shaky sometimes. Doesn't mean that they might not have to explore other things. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, just because you welcome a woman into your ranks doesn't mean, put it this way, this is why affirmative action is, I'm really not getting political, but it's like you can see both sides of it.
Okay.
Affirmative action is a great thing, but also it's a bit of a Band-Aid, right? Because if you don't fix the systemic racism inside an industry,
right,
then you're just hiring more African Americans to go into a workforce where they're undervalued and not treated equally and all this different stuff, right?
Right.
So opponents of affirmative action and people that are pro affirmative action can both agree on that part.
Yeah.
Like if you don't fix the issues underneath, right? So much like that, you can welcome Venus into the family, but not be good brothers to her.
Yeah.
That is a thing, right?
Right.
Okay, cool. You never had a sister. You don't know what that's like. And you guys all joke around with your dicks out and stuff, and that's how you guys resolve things. That's not how she does things.
Right.
So if you want to go under the hood and go into Venus integration part 2, I'm about it.
Yeah.
Don't do it like this.
No.
Don't backslide. Right? You made a great point about a female representation in the TMNT. And let me just say that blows. If you are somebody's sister who this person loved TMNT maybe at the end of the 87 animated series, they love the movies, then this show comes out and there's a female turtle and you're like, oh, hell yeah. So you're watching it with your brother and she's actually cool. And honestly, anybody can see that she's kind of the smartest one of all of them, and actually has stuff figured out. Right. So as the girl watching this show, you're like, wow, there's a character I can invest in. That's my point of view character. At first she has trouble getting accepted, which shit, I'm a girl, I know all about that. Right. But then she does. And now I really like everybody, and she brings something unique to the table. And then you're watching this episode, and you're going, well, this is kind of boring, but hey, Venus is there, like talking common sense, and that's cool because like she's my favorite character.
Right.
And then it resolves like this.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge middle finger to you. Not to mention the episode was boring as shit because it was a clip show.
It was.
Then on the back end, they dunk on your POV character. Yeah. It's like, why?
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 So I'm gonna devil's advocate. I'm gonna devil's advocate a little bit just for the sake of conversation, I guess, because I tend to agree. But now the other side of this would be that, like, wouldn't it? And let me get through these 2 points because I don't want to forget them because I'm about to. One is this show's responsibility, or is it any TV show's responsibility to, I guess, educate and change culture, or be a reflection, kind of like satire to culture, to
and
where if you're
a Rokusaki mirror, look into the mirror, of society,
right?
Okay,
is okay. So that's my one thing, because it's like, I feel like that might be what they're trying to do here, is to reflect what the culture might have done as normal people would do to their sister, probably, or whatever. But, like, is it their job to teach them, or is it their job through like overhanded, like, morals at the end of the show, or is it to show you how terrible it is just by actually just witnessing it? Now, then the second thing that I think I just lost. Dang it! But that was mainly it. Was that it was something
Alicia
else.
And I have a thing. I know I've talked about it on the show before. Maybe it was a long time ago.
Okay.
We need to her and I need to come up with a name for this, because we always have to explain it every time we want to reference it to each other. But it's a real thing.
Okay.
We kind of call it. I'm gonna, as a short term, I'm gonna call it the Game of Thrones problem.
Okay.
Okay. Goes like this. You are creating a fantasy universe. And that's what the TMNT is, right? The minute that you have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it's fantasy, boys. That doesn't really exist, so we can write anything we want, right?
Yeah.
Game of Thrones. We can write anything we want. It's a medieval setting. It's got fantasy. We want dragons. We want political intrigue. We want murders. We want war. We want all these things, right? We want villainous characters that you think are villainous, but turn out to be, you understand you want all this, right?
You understand their incestuous nature. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You want the Targaryens. You want to see, the chest plate of rubies flash out as he's hit with a hammer 100 times. I mean, at least in the books. I mean, Jesus Christ, they talk about that all the time. You want all this, right?
Absolutely.
But then you have the sexual assault.
Yeah.
And what you say is, when people say, man, that's a lot of that, it only really ever happens to women.
Yep.
And you show it a lot. Your defense is, well, that's how it was.
Mm-hmm.
When?
Yeah. Right. In the fantasy, yes.
When with the dragons.
Right.
And the Targaryens.
Right.
And where the Dothraki guy was brought back to life by magic. And there's magic. And there's wizards. And there's, what time period are you talking about where women were treated so poorly? No, you chose to put that in there. You said, as the author, I'm going to have this assault on women, and women stripped nude all the time because I want it. Not because it's real, not because that's how shit was, because nothing about your show or your book is how anything ever was.
Right.
So the axiom of the rule is, when you are writing in a fantasy universe, you make the rules. You make every rule. Now, granted, if you're in a fantasy universe like The Expanse, and which is based a lot on real aerospace, real like gravitation stuff. Yeah, no, there's certain things the human body can't go through 30 Gs or it gets crushed. You set up rules and say, my world is realistic when it comes to this science, right? Or my world is realistic when it comes to these rules. Like in Game of Thrones, arrows kill people, right? Okay,
yeah,
everything that a sword chop, you're dead. These rules work, right?
Yeah,
but when you go into that, you chose that. So much like here, my argument against the mirror,
right,
is you choose, right? So you could choose to have this done in a better light that doesn't just flick off the female POV character in the episode for laughs, right? Because even if you're trying to say, but that's how it really happens, you got to be a lot smarter than that.
Yeah.
You got to be a lot smarter than that. Like because you don't get bonus points from showing to children from children. You don't get bonus points of telling children a story where the female protagonist gets crapped on this late into the game.
Mm-hmm.
And no one cares.
Yeah.
You don't like that's not, you don't get bonus points for that. You did not put money in that bank account. Right. You cannot write that check. Like, I'm here for that check. Yes. If you wanted to do this for real, it needs to be its own episode.
Okay,
they
that's
need to
great.
Treat
that's
her like shit.
Yes.
And then they need to realize what they did wrong. Right. They need to go, oh my God.
In the same episode.
I'm sorry. We're gonna fix that.
Because I want to.
You're right. We're bad brothers. Yes.
I want to give the caveat. I want to give the caveat of like, well, you got to give some things time to happen and heal and stuff like that, and just evolve, I guess. But I don't think. But I think in also like zooming in and out of that perspective and those topics, I think you also need to consider your audience, that this is for children. This is not meant to be a case study in this stuff. So you might have to rein that in a little bit to one episode, because you want to say that, well, we're building it up to be like, because this is before the golden age of television, or the revival of television, where, you know, we had all this, you watch a whole season of stuff. Kids might have missed a couple of episodes. If this was all they got and this is what informed them, then that's, you know, detrimental. But like, you know, maybe next episode they resolve it and they talk to Venus like, yo, we were horrible last episode. Sorry about that. That would be really great. But like, we don't get that. And I don't think you were afforded that luxury in kids television back then. And I still don't know that you would be now, if that's your goal. But I don't even think that was their goal.
Unless you're going straight to streaming, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, unless we're going straight to like, oh, this is a kid's cartoon on Netflix.
Right.
Yes. Like, set it up. They're going to watch every episode, right?
Yeah.
If you're still on cable, like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, Cartoon Network, Jesus Christ. I mean, how you watch any episode of anything?
Oh, yeah, you can't. No, they'll cancel it before you're done.
John Clemens says, well, Noah says, truth be told, I'll be glad when this show is done.
Oh,
John Clemens says, man, this episode needs rocket shoes so bad. And it really does.
It does.
It really does. If we had rocket shoes, we could have rocketed ourselves right out of this whole thing.
We could.
But yeah,
I will say
really
that. Oh, go ahead.
Good. I was gonna say the episode actually ends because you're wondering, where's Splinter during all this? Like, is Splinter sleeping this whole time? No, Splinter shows up at the end and goes, "What's going on here?" And the turtles start all making excuses, and Venus just goes, "Ninjas."
Which, sure, makes perfect sense.
And that's about, you could basically summarize the entire episode with just that last scene.
Yeah, just ninjas. I did love when Leo put the vegetables on his leg. I thought that was so stupid. I enjoyed it. It was not great.
It was funny. It was kind of petty, but it was weird. It's just the fact that, like, once again, I mean, like, I don't mean to like crap all over it. It's just when you review a lot of episodes of something, and you're really trying to see it, 2020 vision here. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to go deep like a diver. You're trying not to, believe all the bad things people say about the next Mutation, and you're trying to go in with, eyes wide open and really trying to be good with it.
Yeah.
And really mine it for its value to the franchise. And then they drop one on you like this. You're like, if it was just a clip show, if it was just the turtles all sitting around the lair and talking about their favorite moments from their times together, that would have been 800 times better than trying to squeeze in this whole cataclysmic Raph Leo explosion where everyone looks bad. Battle lines are drawn that don't mean anything, but also really mean something. Like, at the same time.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to forget this ever happened.
Absolutely. If they would have split both of these things, if they would have made it an episode about this fight and everything, that probably would have been a better episode, and the clip show would have been a better episode. But yeah, the hodgepodge of them together is just not good.
It needs to be a clip show, and then they need to make this fight episode basically the Seinfeld Chinese restaurant episode.
Oh yeah, the bottle episode. Yeah,
where they're just waiting,
right?
Like waiting on their table, and it's the entire scene is
That's
all
it.
episodes waiting on a table. Like
right.
This whole like if you went for that, I'd be a lot more excited. I'd be like,
oh, absolutely.
So it's just gonna be dialogue about their shit. I'm like, I'm all about that. Like that'd be amazing.
Well, speaking of things that I'm all about,
instead we went ape.
We did ape. We went ape. We're going ape. We're going ape now. I'm all about apes, and I am so excited because I can't wait to talk about Silver again. I'm just so excited. Hold on. I'm getting something. Oh, Silver's not in this episode. Shit.
No, I mean, you could be forgiven. Because when I saw the title of this episode, I was like, all right, so Silver's back.
Yeah, I was so looking forward to the idea.
I mean, is a gorilla and an ape the same thing? Am I?
They are not, but in the 90s they were.
Dumb. I don't think they are.
They're not. They're not. But in the 90s, we didn't have the internet, so they were. They were the same thing. And they were, what is it called? There's a term called bleaching. There's a word before the word bleaching, but it's basically like where the words like LOL doesn't mean LOL, doesn't mean laughing out loud anymore. It's just, it means a whole bunch of other stuff because it's just been bleached so much that it's just kind of not really what it was intended to be. And so it's kind of like, that's what I thought of like apes in the 90s, like ape and
quoting championsforwildlife.org. Since gorillas don't have tails, they are classified as apes. Other apes include orangutans, chimpanzees, billy apes, and bonobos.
Oh, so they are the same thing.
Yes.
Oh, that's surprising. See, I just assumed they wouldn't be.
Are apes.
Oh, deep diving daddies here for you. We're giving it to you.
They're just.
They just don't have tails?
Yes.
I guess that's what separates them from monkeys.
Yes.
So Silver and this character that we see in this episode, they are of the same species, presumably. I mean, I haven't seen Silver's backside, so I don't really know.
So ape is a term. Is a term for. This is from A to Z Animals.com.
Oh, okay.
Ape is a term for a group of primates belonging to the superfamily Hominidae, which includes chimpanzees, bonobos, orangutans, gorillas, gibbons, and humans. Within the superfamily Hominidae, man, people are going to kill me for that.
Oh yeah.
Are known as great apes. The lesser apes, gibbons, belong to a different family, and they are different than monkeys.
Didn't we have an episode called Great Ape Expectations? Didn't we name one of our episodes?
We did have a Great Ape Expectations episode.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, good.
That was important. We got that in. So technically we can't get the episode wrong. We can't. I mean, we just spent the last hour just completely dropping loads all over this show. Well, I'm going to say go an ape. Yeah.
Yeah. Go an ape.
Same super family.
Oh yeah,
and we call them super family.
We call them super family, and we call this episode "Going Ape," episode 20, we believe. So
that's what we're going to call the $200 a month tier of Patreon.
Oh, Going Ape. Family. Oh, we got to change that. Yeah, we got to update that.
Oh, we'll call it Going Ape. $200 a month. Going Ape.
Going Ape. Oh, I got to write that.
And you belong to the Turtle Soup super family.
All right, hold on. I'm writing it down. Patreon $20 tier. Going Ape. All right, that's fantastic.
No. I mean, I said $200 a month. I mean, like.
Oh, you said $200? Oh, yeah. Well, we only have a few people.
What if it was $1 million?
What if it was?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. What if it was?
Sorry. Continue.
They probably had $1 million budget on this because to get a real life ape on this show that's also an actor is well two, I guess, because they got Silver. So there's two. So the budget on this show is just like. The amount of moon money that it costs to make this show is just wild. So, but it was
maybe that justifies the clip show. You know what I mean? Maybe if it hired the ape for Going Ape, then maybe it's worth that explains the whole thing.
Like, what if that was like when they met with Venus and they're like, Venus, we got to do this clip show, but we're gonna kind of shit on your character a little bit.
We're gonna destroy your entire career. But
however, here's out, and they go shh, and they put their finger to her lips, and they go shh. We're gonna get another ape. We're going to use the money that we're saving to get another ape. And she's like, but do you have to like degrade me a little bit? And they're like, well, we might as well. And so
that was like the time that Star Trek dead ass tried to give Will Wheaton a rank upgrade on Star Trek over a pay raise. That's like my favorite story ever. They're like, we want to re-sign you, and we have big plans for your character. He's like, great. How much more money am I going to get? Because my first contract sucked ass because I was like a tryout. And they're like, you will become, what rank was he going to get?
Oh, he was going to become.
Hold on. He was going to go from ensign to petty officer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Huh. And they're like, we'll make you petty officer. And he was like, that's not actually anything.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I love that story. That's so good.
Yeah, I just, oh, goodness. Good old Trek. Well, all right, so going ape. Let's see here. Where's my button I got to hit? Okay, here we go. So we open up on Raphael's motorcycle. And we hear Raph saying, Raph needs a little excitement. And he takes off and he eventually runs into Bone Steel. But like the whole time he's like, it seems like it's kind of nighttime dusk here, but then it's like late afternoon here. Like, I don't know. The time is just super weird here. And it's just very strange daylight shots of Raph just driving down these streets. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But your boy Bone Steel shows up, which I love Bone Steel so much. God bless him. Like he's just one of those characters that I really hope that IDW or somebody brings him back because he's just excellent in my opinion. So yeah, they run into each other and like all of a sudden he tries to shoot Raphael on his bike and the bike mysteriously won't start back up for some reason. So Raph takes heel to toe express and takes off with Bone Steel chasing after him, which was like hilarious. Yeah, the mechanic, the guy that Donnie was so worried about, or whoever was about about who's going to take care of these machines. Obviously it's not Raph because he's just going to run, but that just killed me that like they're like, could you imagine being this car right here just driving up on this shit?
Like, and you just roll up on that. You're like, man, the sun's going down. I wonder what we're going to get for dinner tonight. What the hell?
Yeah. And oh my goodness, that just killed me. But like they keep running and it's like, I don't know. I like it because we're not used to seeing these kind of shots in this show, which was kind of neat. But so Bone Steel and is chasing Raph. Raph turns a corner and grabs a paper, and he pretends to be. Let's see, do I got a shot? Yeah. Pretends to be a just reading it. Bone Steel comes up and asks if they've seen a mutant, and Raph says, "Nah." Bone Steel takes off. Just okay, cool, and like, I don't know. It's just classic slapstick humor, and I appreciate it because Bone Steel's really dumb for the most part. But yeah, it's just it's I don't know. There's something charming about it, even though it was kind of dumb. So Raph drops the paper, and camera zooms in to a story about a killer gorilla escapes from circus. So now I got a question. Was he a killer gorilla before he escaped from the circus, or did the circus hire a killer gorilla?
All I gotta say is you can't trust a carny to do much.
Oh my goodness! Here we go.
That's. I mean, they just let the killer gorilla escape.
Oh my goodness. But apparently down here it says rare silver something spotted at Manhattan flea market. So I don't know if that. I don't know. I'm trying to read the newspaper. I should have done that beforehand, but it's kind of hard to read. But this is the
rare silver. Yeah, I think that might be silver. They may have just seen him.
Oh, dang. There you go. Well, the New York Sun, I mean, I'm sure that our New York correspondents let us know if the New York Sun is a reputable source
is that or
what. But nevertheless, there we go. We've got that, and you got to believe it. If it was in the print, you got to believe that back in the day.
I believe everything I read on the internet. So
I mean, there you go. This was the internet back in the day. So
absolutely.
So Raphael ends up happening upon an abandoned house, which is scheduled for demolition next Wednesday. They just scheduled it, letting you know ahead of in advance.
See you next Wednesday.
See you next Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So Raph just is like, okay, well, let's go in and hide for a while, and let's just see, what's going on, and just go into this abandoned house, and he's just realizing that it's just, cobwebs everywhere, like just things with like curtains or just things thrown over it and just all this stuff. And it's just your typical abandoned house. And we see up here on the second floor that the killer gorilla is also hiding out in the house, just coincidentally. And so then let's see, where am I at? So we see just as Raph is about to get to the second level, Bone Steel appears and just ropes Raph and drags him down the stairs and then hangs him up for a turtle skinning party, which, Ryan, have you ever been to a turtle skinning party? I don't know if that's something y'all do over there.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I asked if you'd ever been to a turtle skinning party. And I thought the pause was...
Not too many. That is pretty good. I'm like...
Yeah, like nothing.
What'd you ask me?
I touched the nerve.
No. Allegedly, I've never been to one.
Right. So, okay, cool. Okay, yeah, I just didn't know. If you've been to a turtle skinning party, let us know in the comments and email us turtlesoupshow@gmail.com and tell us if it's anything like this, because Bone Steel apparently has, and he rope-a-doped Raphael pretty good. So, so outside of the abandoned house, we see that the rank are reporting their findings, that they've been tracking Raphael, and the Dragon Lord instructs them to capture the turtle, dispose of the human, and bring the other big, fat, hairy life form to him if it looks edible. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's pretty wild that he's just want to eat them, which is in line with the Dragon Lord. He does like to consume things quite often, and so really neat though that we get the rank kind of get a little bit of their own focus here on this episode. So that's kind of cool. But inside the abandoned house, Bone Steel is about to use a giant mallet on Raphael and ask if he has any last words. And as soon as that's happening, Raphael sees the gorilla behind Bone Steel and yells "gorilla," which Bone Steel doesn't understand. He just is like, that's a very strange last word to say, but whatever. Yeah. And then he goes to use the mallet. The gorilla grabs it and is like, "Nah, son." And then it picks up Bone Steel and spins him around, just round and round and round. And then we see Raphael use his sai to cut the rope and get down from there, but from the ceiling. And I guess this was Bone Steel's face when he saw the gorilla. I can't remember because it's been a minute since I actually watched the episode.
That's what it was.
But yeah, just shocked, which I don't know. I've never seen a gorilla in an abandoned house before, but I imagine my hair would do the same. So
yeah, potentially.
Yeah, but Raph somehow,
my hair would look the same.
Oh yeah, you'd get the more hair, and every hair would just be just everywhere, just bam. So but Raphael used his sai to cut down the rope that he was hanging from the ceiling on.
And the non-edged weapon.
The non-edged weapon. Thank you. I hate that so much. I guess it's one thing if you make it known that it's an edged sai. I guess they make those. I don't know. I've only ever seen them.
An edged sai ain't gonna stay sharp long, buddy.
Right.
It traps things.
Yeah, that's the whole point. And so I don't know. I just hate when they do that, and it's so like asinine to me. But
it is.
But what can you do? So yeah. So then let's see where we at. So Bone Steel gets spun around. Then Raph uses his side to cut the rope down. The rank show up at this point, and it's just pandemonium. A panda doesn't show up. It's just craziness happens.
Yeah.
With the three people, the three groups there, and they show up, causing all kinds of stuff. Let's see. Raph eventually pokes the gorilla in the ass with his sai, causing him to throw Bone Steel into the group of the rank. Raph and the gorilla have a little altercation, and it's just kind of weird. And Bone Steel insults the rank. Then Raph and Bone Steel bump into each other and scare one another, and everyone just runs upstairs. It's just a whole thing, and it's very, very much Benny Hill. Isn't that right? Benny Hill or Benny Hinn or Benny?
It's a kind of like somewhat fast forwarded.
Yeah, like the that whole old type of Family Guy made a fun of it a ton, but it was the old thing. They'll do this scene later, and I'll talk about it then. But from those shows where you see the characters running through different doors in a hallway, and there's that weird music playing, whatever it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That is what this episode essentially is a bunch of that.
It's a lot of that rope-a-dope run around thing.
Yes, and so then in the turtle lair, Leo is upset because Raph is late to their skateboarding appointment.
Oh yeah.
It is it's very bizarre, especially coming off of the last episode where they did not like each other, so now they're skateboarding together. So that's cool. And they do one of the things this show does best is transitions, and you get a giant banana to to cause that scene to end and bring in the next scene. So that was fantastic.
Peel slowly and see.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, back at the abandoned house, rope-a-dope continues just over and over again. Raph and Bone Steel hold up in a room and barricade the door with everything they can find, just any kind of stuff. And talk about head lice and all this other weird shit. But it's kind of weird. So while that's going on, they eventually realize they need to team up because they're outnumbered. So Bone Steel starts talking loudly, and the gorilla, who has been chasing the rank around the house this whole time, hears this and just kind of is like, oh, something's happening over there. So he, let's see, I think this is him hearing it, and he's like, oh, yeah, we need to, I need to go see what that is, as gorillas are to do, I guess. And so he turns around, and rope-a-dope continues. He busts through the door and just like, oh my goodness, it's just running around, just around a bed, just constantly going around and around. And you're just like, this is just too much. And so back at the turtle lair, Leo and Don are playing tic-tac-toe. And yeah, that's, just, I guess that's what you did in the 90s. I don't remember. Did you ever play tic-tac-toe in the 90s? I'm sure that was a thing.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's all I did, basically.
So yeah, Leo is just still not having this. Like he's just like so beside himself that Raphael is not back. Like he just doesn't know. He's pissed. Back at the abandoned house, rope-a-dope is still happening. Bone Steel and Raph are still being chased around the bed. Bone Steel says they need to get under the bed because gorillas hate beds, which I think if you would have read a little bit further, Ryan, on that website, the A to Z, whatever it was, I think they would have said it would have said that little known fact, or fun fact, or
fun
ape facts. Let's see.
Yeah.
Monkey fact? No. There's something there. I can't find it, but nevertheless. Yeah. They hate beds. So here we go. Educational show right here for you, everyone. Nature Channel, what? You don't need it. You got Turtle Soup, and you got back then you got Next Mutation, whatever the show's called. So Raphael informs Bone Steel that ninjas don't hurt innocent animals. So that's pretty interesting. I did not know that. That was unknown to me. And I don't think we've seen that in the comics at all, because we know that the Ninja Turtles do hurt policemen, and they really just hurt anybody, really. So I don't know. Maybe this is changing the continuity, but we'll see. There's more. There's more in this episode. We're nowhere near done, everybody. So buckle up. So as they're under the bed, the gorilla just jumps on top of it and eventually makes its way through the mattress. And it's just, okay, whatever. They're about to die. But elsewhere in the house, the rank are reporting in to the Dragon Lord. He basically just says, like they're talking to him on a Tamagotchi, like essentially for all intents and purposes. Yeah. And he tells him just, get it done. Like, just, I don't want to hear excuses. Just get this thing done. Just get that, kill this guy, kill the human, kill the turtle, bring me the other thing so I can eat it. And yeah, so then back with Raph and Bone Steel, they are now holding what's left of the bed, and just like the box spring, I guess that's what that's called. And they that's all that's keeping them between them and the gorilla. They slowly make their way to the door and leave the spring part of the mattress for the gorilla to bounce off of when it tries to pursue them. Raph and Bone Steel run into the rank outside, and this is where confusion happens. Everyone runs away. with the gorilla just like coming in, throwing the rank everywhere. But he's following them in the Benny Hill, whatever it's called. That whole scene with the I think it's like right here with the hallways. Yeah, here we go. And the Scooby-Doo did it. Pretty much every animated series or any comedy, slapstick comedy, has done this. And this is exactly what they do here. And you see the gorilla, and this is kind of terrifying. This scene that we're showing right here. If this is something that if Adult Swim had gotten the rights to this show back in like the early to mid 2000s, they would have shown this and slowed it down and made it like terrifying, like they did with the Saved by the Bell I'm So Excited thing, where they had Jesse singing it like
oh my God, that Adult Swim is so scary,
so terrifying. And you don't realize that like this something that's not really that scary in the afternoon, at normal speed.
Nope. But at night.
Fine. But at night, slowed down. Oh yeah, no, like I'm not sleeping tonight. Like I'm sleeping with one eye open, clutching my pillow tight, And this gorilla is just, I don't know, it's something else. But it's not the worst costume I've ever seen. I'm assuming it's a costume. Oh, I did until we read that they got that extra gorilla, the actual gorilla actor. So, but we'll find out more about that later. Back in the turtle lair, Donatello and Leo are still going at it, doing anything and everything they can do to like kill the time. And this time they're having a stare down contest. Donatello wins this one too, and Leo loses it, which is just par for the course now with this show, is that Leo is just not very good at losing anything really. And Don says it's because he's a genius that he wins. And Leo says Raphael is just driving him bananas. And that's pretty fair. And we get another banana transition, which is wonderful. So, you still with me, folks? Because this is still going. Back at the abandoned room.
Yes. This episode, as I'm watching it, I'm like, man, they're really getting their dollar's worth out of this ape, man. I mean, they are just running around that house, and it's just like
they are.
Feels like a fever dream.
It does. Raph and Bone still are hiding in and behind a couch. They think they've lost the gorilla, but Bone still says that he's going to hunt Raph still, even after this is done, and he just doesn't like Raphael, pretty much. And then the smell of rotten bananas fills the air, and Raph thinks it's Bone Steel's breath, but Bone Steel doesn't like bananas, and then you realize it's the gorilla. So Raph runs off, and and the gorilla starts tearing at the couch. Downstairs, the rank. Let's see, where did I lost my place? There we go. Downstairs, in the abandoned house, we see that the rank with a bunch of ropes. They're just setting up a trap for the big hairy object because they don't know exactly what that is. And so Raph and Bone Steel fall downstairs. They then take off into a room, and we hear the rank say, "Yeah, now snare," and snare the beast. The camera shakes, and then Raph and Bone Steel peek out. And they see that they have successfully captured the gorilla, which is pretty impressive, for...
They did it, even though those three other rank soldiers had about 2 brain cells between the 3 of them.
Yeah. So, I mean, good on them.
Yeah, they got
it. Back in the turtle lair, we got Leo polishing his sword, and he better not look too careful in it because he might today he might die.
You might watch out for that shit.
So, I'd be terrified to look into anything that was reflective after Venus did that shit. Like,
absolutely. I just got done last episode. I just got done straight up like dismissing her entire existence.
Right.
And now I'm going to look into this shiny thing. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Not going to happen. So
I'm out.
So Leo is polishing his sword and talking about how self-centered Raph is. And at the same time, Donatello is just sleeping on the couch behind him, just knocked out.
Yeah.
So... back in the abandoned house, Raph can't watch the rank kill the gorilla. He just can't do it. Like he doesn't want to see it happen, which is kind of interesting for Raph's character because you'd think he'd be a little bit like, he'd be all about the gore and be like, yeah, kill it, and just have like a weird little bloodlust kind of thing going on. But that could also be like when he is in his fight mode, but not his flight, because right now he's in his flight mode, so he's like running away.
Yeah. I think he's got a clearer head.
Right
now.
But so I guess that does check out. So the rank attack Raphael, and the gorilla saves him. And then Raph gets excited because he thinks he's made a new friend. He teaches the gorilla to high five, and Bone Steel comes in with his crossbow, which, Bone Steel always trying to shoot something. And aimed at Raphael, the gorilla just takes the arrow out of the crossbow and starts chewing it, and then Raph kicks. Bone Steel causing him to fly into a wall head first. And let's see, I got a shot of that somewhere. Here we go.
Go out the portrait there, boys.
Oh yeah, classic. Just excellent. And yeah, so outside, where we're at? Okay, causing him to go head first into the wall painting. Outside, we see Raph and the gorilla walking and trying to figure out what to do next with a handful of bananas. I should rephrase that. They're trying to figure out what they should do next while they have a handful of bananas in their hands. They're not trying to figure out what to do with the handful of bananas. They know to eat those. But I realized that sentence was a little strange. So back at the Turtles' lair, Leo and Dawn are now sleeping together. I mean, sleeping.
What?
Sorry. Sorry. Let me rephrase that again too. But I'm getting all messed up.
Oh.
They're sleeping just in the same area. Dawn wakes up and says, "You know what? Maybe Raph made a new friend." Huh. And then quickly realized that he's insufferable, and they're the only people who could tolerate him, which I very much appreciate that they acknowledge that. Just then he goes back to sleep, and the radio that's on for some reason reports that Bongo, the missing gorilla, has been returned to the zoo. Outside somewhere else, we see Raph and now who we know as Bongo walking and eating bananas. Raph says this is the start of a beautiful friendship. And there you go. So
I got really confused. By that ending.
Yeah.
Because it seems like they were trying to set up that, like, that wasn't Bongo the killer gorilla. Like, I thought that's what they were trying to say. Was like, you see them walking away and they're going to go like catch a movie or something. And they say, "Oh, Bongo the gorilla has been brought back to his cage, and it's all good."
Yeah,
but he's still walking with the ape, so it's supposed to be like that was never the killer ape the whole time. But I'm like, why would an ape just be in a house?
Yeah,
like
that is very confusing.
That's the feeling I got off it. It was really weird.
Yeah, because it feels like. It feels like this shot right here, or the closing shot where it said this is a start of a beautiful friendship, which is again another homage to another older movie TV show trope. That scene should have been before Donatello wakes up and wonders if he should have made a new friend, and he's like, "No, he's insufferable. We're the only ones who like him." And then that should have been the episode, and then that makes you think that Raphael might have actually turned him in, which not really a good thing to do for your friend. That you're
put him back in the circus.
No, that's not good. Put
him back in the cage.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
But I could definitely.
It doesn't sound like a thing Raph would ever do.
It doesn't at all.
Which makes me think that they were going for the whole Bongo the killer gorilla was captured elsewhere, and that this gorilla is just some gorilla.
See, that's so weird.
But I'm like, that makes very little sense. Why would there be a gorilla in this house
that's scared?
It doesn't make
hiding
any sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. But
it's weird.
It is very strange. I hope we see this gorilla again that I mistakenly named as Bongo, because we don't know necessarily. They never said. But I do have to say that they looked great on screen. The gorilla looked just excellent. Whatever this gorilla's name is, just really good. And I thought that, I mean, it was entertaining to say the least, but it did run a little long, and it leaned a little too much on the slapstick and the just all the tropes and homages too much. Now, I'm one for those things, but it just was a little strange to me. And the whole Leo being upset about Raph not being there was kind of weird too. But I realized they needed something to break it up, but it just, I don't know. Now, if this gorilla, if we see this gorilla again, that will be fantastic. I'll be all about this. And this would be like the origin episode almost. And I'll be for that, but.
Definitely it felt like a one set episode. You know what I mean? Like we're in this house the whole time kind of. I mean, you get some layer shots, but I mean, we're kind of in the house. I mean, I think the most interesting proposition about this episode is Bone Steel and Raph teaming up for survival. I think that was like really like the what this episode was bringing. You know what I mean? In general, so for that it was all right, and you got a lot of like, funny Bone Steel and Wrath moments. But yeah, it did rely a lot on the slapstick, and yeah, it was all right.
It was all right.
I felt if the intention was to make you feel like you were trapped in that house with Bone Steel, the Wrangler, like I did feel like I was trapped in that house. So good job.
Yeah, while I was reading it, my notes, I was like, "Oh my goodness, this sounds like purgatory. Like I'm just like stuck here." But watching it, if you watch it just without doing anything, it's not the worst episode considering we watched the worst episode before this one.
Yeah, you watched like Brothers, so your expectations have been lowered to the ground.
Exactly. So that could be what I'm experiencing here. But I mean, it kind of almost feels like whenever the 87 animated series would introduce a new character, and you'd be like, "Oh, I wonder when we're going to see them again." But there's no real precedence for that with this character. This character feels like they're not a mutant, but we don't know. But given the other ape that we've seen, that with Silver, that like
runs a crime ring. I mean, right. He set the bar pretty high for apes.
He did. That's that's, I don't know. It's just interesting. So it's a very strange episode, but it totally reeks of like a writer came in and applied old like templates to the
it's
formula.
More so this episode was written by Dan Clark, which is interesting. Dan Clark has a history with the TMNT. But you made a great point, and this show doesn't do it nearly as much as the animated series, but you made a great point. This episode was written by older people.
Yeah,
not written for the kids that it was made for. That's right. All the Keystone Cop segments and the all those things. That is like the toot suite for this show. You know what I mean? There are jokes and references to old timey stuff made by someone who's writing a love letter to those old timey things. And we isolated that in the 87 series just from the lingo and the different references they made where you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like when you went back to Mirage and stuff like that, the references they made in Mirage were dated, but they were dated to the current time.
Yeah.
Like it was like late 80s references they're making. Like those are topical.
Yeah.
Right. These are a love letter to older times.
Yes.
A gorilla running around, a gorilla suit, and the run around the house, and it's very much like almost like Addams Family, where like it all takes place in that house. You know what I mean? So like it had that kind of like feeling to it, and then the classic guy in an ape suit on the run, right? Like which I mean goes back to how many films? It just you have a good point. I think it feels like it was written by someone who was older. Who wrote this episode, who was like, I'm going to write about the funny things I think are funny.
And they're funny. It's fine. It's fine. It works,
it's just a lot of slapstick if that's your thing.
Yeah. And that's really it. And it just furthers Leo's frustration with, losing and then also Raphael.
Yeah.
But
I did. It lines back up on that.
I want to pat myself on the back too.
At all.
For no Venus. Yeah, at all. That's at fine. All.
She was probably the one that left the sewer. They were doing arm wrestles. Yeah. She's like, how about I leave for a week?
Right.
And come back and y'all realize that I'm awesome and that I'm actually, are you ready for this?
Oh.
I'm the entire like next mutation.
Yeah. That's me.
She's the point of the show.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yep.
If you had to look back and say, what was the whole premise of this show? It was Venus de Milo comes and joins the Turtles in further adventures. That's the synopsis.
Yeah.
But whatever, she's not in the episode. It's fine.
But she's not in the episode. But
cool.
Yeah, that's fine. But I wanted to pat myself on the back thinking about Yeah, just to say that I brought up another good point that I hadn't.
You want to say? Oh, another good point I brought up. Okay, let's go.
Since you mentioned the first good point that I made, I have another one that you might have forgotten. The idea of Raphael having the two persona, which we know, we've discussed at length, but I guess I didn't think about it until I said it on this episode where we were talking about his bloodlust not being there when he was like didn't want to see the other gorilla get hurt or the gorilla get hurt. And that's him in his flight mode, and that makes perfect sense because when he's like, I need to what did he say at the beginning of the episode? I need some I'm scrolling up real quick to see Raph needs a little excitement,
yeah,
but then he takes off on his bike, and then when it stops because he can't figure it out, he's just in flight mode from then on, and it could be that he was in flight mode the entire time, that's why he needed to get away, but thinking about him in that mode, I don't know. It's just kind of interesting because
you're right.
Yeah, because we usually see him in the other one.
I can't get over. By the way, I made another great point where you just brought up your other point. That's eating away at me inside. I'm like that's
love it.
It's like alien blood, like on the ship where it burns through the decks, until it stops. Like the minute you said that, you're making your point again. It's like burning through levels of me, going like. Wait, that's actually funny as hell. That's like probably funnier than anything else.
I'm so glad because that's what I meant for it.
I love that it's like, someone buttresses your point. They say, Eric, you brought up something great. They enumerate a little on it and they kind of wrap it back up with like, Eric, you did. Yeah, like Eric, that was right. You're like, well, while we're talking about a great point, let me bring up my other great point, and you just say the point again. Oh, that's so good.
That's what I'm here for. So.
But you're all right. So now I feel like I need to do my part. So yes, like that was another good point. Raph definitely seems like he has a binary state of like of attack or flee, fight or flight.
Yeah.
I think it's very much in every single Turtles character to not let what was going to happen. Like I think Raph has the version of him that might do it, maybe in a different incarnation where he's like, oh no, I'll get you.
Yeah.
But that would happen in the heat of the moment, like you're saying. That would happen in combat. Like he'd be like, you gotta go.
Right.
But I think every single turtle would look at that gorilla whose only crime is being itself. Like and responding to all threats with a I must eliminate you. Right, which is like what it's programmed to do,
and trespassing,
being strung up and trespassing, sure. But I mean, let's say everybody's trespassing, so I mean, like that kind of goes out in the wash.
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody belongs there.
There's no soapbox there.
You can make a point that the gorilla was actually trespassing the least, given it doesn't have a grasp of the concept of trespassing, but everyone else in that room did.
That's
I got to be a lawyer about it.
That's
you know
true.
What I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Like you got to know the expectation to be found guilty of intentionally breaking that.
Right.
Everybody else knew they were trespassing. See you next Wednesday, except the gorilla who was like, I'm gonna try to get in this big thing that looks kind of like a cave.
Right.
It looks like a big weird shaped tree I can crawl in, and I want to be safe from everybody. So I'm going to go in this big wooden thing.
Yeah.
And then everybody else said, we're going to go in here and play around.
Right.
Now, I think that a lot of it too is very interesting was the nature of his impending death. It was not, I think this goes back to Raph. It was not a death in combat.
Yeah.
It was being trapped, strung up and gutted alive, not just by anyone,
right,
but by the rank,
right,
which it's kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend too.
That's true. Yeah, but like
so
the rank,
I think
dragons.
It was hard for him to see a warrior, someone that he fought for 19 minutes, which felt like every minute that you watched it. I think it's tough to see that noble beast slain in that way.
Oh,
which I really appreciate out of Raph. I like that they actually, because I've just been yelling about the writing all day. I did like that things ended in this moment where they could just run. The rank would be busy killing the gorilla who had already caused him and Bone Steel a lot of problems. Try to kill them both, right?
Both, yeah.
they can make tracks, and the rank would never find him again. The rank wasn't gonna. Well, first I'm gonna kill him, then I'm gonna go kill you. It's like, no, you won't have time to do that. I'm out.
No.
Right. But Bone still goes back to his same old tricks.
Oh yeah.
Although Bone still needs to learn how to shoot and not talk about shooting.
That's true. You think he'd learn by now because he's competent.
Yes, sometimes he takes advantage of a ranged weapon where he's down range, saying, "I'm going to kill you," and you're a little more control there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he has a real bad habit of walking up in close quarters combat with a ranged weapon.
Yeah.
And saying, like, singing a song about how he's going to kill you before he actually does it.
Yeah.
And to have his arrow pulled out of that crossbow is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was so good.
I'm like, that's amazing. And like when he's like, when the gorilla bites into it, he's like, those aren't for eating.
Right.
They're for shooting. I'm like, that's so crazy. Good. But that's all Bone Steel. You got to be.
He's fantastic.
He's got to be that way.
He does. So I was going to ask real quick though, it's kind of tricky because the rank are dragons. And so I don't know what the natural predator is for gorillas. I don't know if dragons are in that circle or that diagram or whatever, because like then you're getting into like, I guess it's a matter of, is this senseless no, sorry, I'm just thinking about this. Dragon Lord wanted to eat the gorilla. So technically that's just nature happening, and going against nature is not the best thing. But then the mutations, the turtles are mutants.
Dragons aren't from our plane of existence.
Ryan, the authors of this show wanted that to happen. They wanted the I'm trying to do the Game of Thrones thing you talked about earlier that we don't have.
Oh, okay. You're not doing.
But I'm trying to say that they wanted they wanted the dragon to eat the gorilla.
Game of Thrones because they wanted it. Right. Anyways, I made another great point earlier. You're right. I made another great point earlier. Right. Let's go back to that.
Yeah, let's go back to
that. My great point. That's so good.
But
yeah, I don't know. It definitely better than the first episode.
Oh, absolutely.
That's all I can say.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. You asked a question earlier. I feel like I ran all over. What was your question?
Ooh, I was talking about the rank eating the gorilla because
okay.
Because Dragon Lord wanted to.
Is that he did want to save that potentially for himself, or I think earlier he said the rank could eat it.
Oh,
like,
they might.
I think the first phone call, he said something like, "Well, analyze it, and if you can eat it, go for it."
That's something like that. Yeah, he did say to use their judgment.
Yes, they called later and interrupted him in the middle of eating another animal, and he was mad about it. That's what it was. And he was like, "Why are you interrupting my animal feast?" And they're like, "Well," and he's like, "Well, kill it." He's like, okay.
So in that regard, it's not necessarily a senseless murder, since they're going to kill it for consumption. But I don't know, because then are the turtles going to be going out into the wild and stopping other animals from getting eaten? Which then you could then ostensibly.
I mean, if you're going to try to be the goalie over that, I mean, good luck.
Yeah,
good luck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, you have to know what cricket is.
I saw this video. Have you seen the video of the hippopotamus exploding?
It exploding?
So this had to be, because there's all those times, that like, National Geographic, like, people filming have to just watch animals die. And they can't obviously intervene. Like, regardless of how sad it is. Like, the youngest gazelle is, the slowest one and gets eaten. And you got to be like, oh, man.
Yeah.
There was a hippo floating in a river in Africa that had been dead for like several days.
Oh, gee. Oh,
and
okay.
They're so big.
Because the blood.
And there's so much meat that the methane gas, like, in them is like actually like can viably hurt you, right?
That's wild.
Because of the bones and shit that would explode out and stuff. Their bones are so big. These hyenas roll up on that shit, and they start eating away.
Yeah.
And photographers just shooting this shit. They're just eating.
Oh. Dang.
And they rupture the abdomen where the gas is, and that shit is like an actual blood explosion.
Oh my goodness!
Knocks hyena's dick in the dirt. It's crazy.
Like,
oh yeah,
like
they go flying.
Like, did Shao Kahn say flawless victory, fatality? Like,
is that 100%?
Just
like
toasty.
Well, the video stops after you see the hyenas get thrown like across the little river, and like you see it is like the camera guy got some on him.
Oh my goodness!
Like it's a big ass deal, and other creatures, they were saying, other creatures that have higher intelligence literally know not to fuck with that. Like,
interesting.
They see an upside down bloated hippo, like a crocodile. Right. Crocodile don't play with that.
Yeah, no.
Crocodile sees it's all bloated. Crocodile goes the other way and goes to get something else to eat. That's so.
Do they have
lions
like
and shit? They don't play that game.
Do they have like a mnemonic thing, like where they're like, if the hippo's upside down, you got to walk around? Like, did they say something like that?
Something.
Like at the animal kingdom?
I can tell you this. The hyenas don't know that mnemonic.
Oh, yeah.
They don't know that. You know what I mean?
No.
But that thing, I mean, you can tell. Just by looking at it, it looked like those big ass propane tanks they fill other propane tanks from at like the hardware store. It looks like that, dude. That thing is like almost cylindrical, and you're like, yo, that's gonna suck.
Yeah. That's
anyways,
wild.
So I mean, that had to be one for the nature photographer. That's one for him. He's one like, oh, yeah. All right, finally, somebody's eating something and it's about to get wrecked. In a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta see it. It's crazy.
That's wild. I'll have to watch that. Well, hey, if you've seen hippopotamus explode, we want to know about it. And if you've seen any
let us know.
explode, we want to know. Let us know. turtlesoupshow@gmail.com. Hit us up there with any questions, concerns, thoughts, comments, anything we got loud and wrong. Totally let us know. You can also do that in the comments here on YouTube. And speaking of that, we're here on YouTube. So like, subscribe, comment, do all that fun stuff. Help us to get to 500 and then beyond. But we're pretty close to it now. So if you want to be a part of that, we'd appreciate it. And then join us on Facebook and all the other socials. We Turtle Soup Show with the underscores and the group on Facebook. That always helps out a lot. And I think that's pretty much it. We're gonna try to be back pretty soon with more coverage of this to get through it, solely just so we can move on to other things and get out of the 90s and into the 2000s. So that's gonna be exciting, and we hope you'll join us. So I think that's going to do it for us this evening. So thanks again for everyone here on YouTube watching us, and all of y'all listening wherever you're listening. And else time.
Shout out to my boy Bongo doing time in the pen. Else time.
Oh my goodness, John
What's
Clemens.
poppin', homies?
John Clemens, you're killing us.
John Clemens on rapid fire. During the little break, I was like, I just looked up and saw a gorilla interrupted, and I about lost my shit.
Yeah.
right now, Gorilla interrupted because we got nothing. Like we were chatting for a second. Like, do we have anything we want to bring to the table? Like what do you name this episode?
Yeah.
Like, because it's like nothing. And Gorilla interrupted that's gonna be real strong. Like I'm like that. If you want to drop episode titles, give ideas, you're going up against Gorilla Interrupted,
right?
In my opinion, I mean that's who's currently on top of the the fucking hill. Bongo Bananas and Benny Hill.
Oh, that's pretty good too. We love alliteration.
We do, You know that. Fierce fighter finds friend and furry fiend. I mean, I can't argue with 6 F words in a row.
I know, right?
That sounds like me. That sounds like me when we were doing the podcast.
It does. It totally does.
6 F words in a row. It was what we should name one of those early episodes.
It's true. Man, I'm still thinking about that all that explosion. Jeez.
No, the hippo thing.
The hippo thing.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
It's nuts. It's you probably need to. Let me see what Google gives me real fast.
I'm gonna
Oh, they got lions. Lions, fuck with that. A pride of 19 lions start eating a dead hippo and it explodes.
Goodness.
Oh. Crocodiles did it at one point. They got that one.
Oh, jeez. All right, let's see what we got here. So,
that's insanity.
Oh my god,
there's a lot of this.
This lion's just like gnawing away at this thing, and then
I guess I have to take it back. So the video I watched said like that other animals of higher intelligence don't play that game, but honestly, if they're hungry enough, if the pride's hungry enough, they might just have to play that game.
Right.
But it made sure to point out that hyenas are dumb and they eat anything and they're like worth it. You know what I mean? Like worth the cost.
Right.
And I guess, maybe those guys were really hungry and they just went for it. Or they thought, oh, he's not that bloated. I don't know.
Yeah. That's just.
I watch the videos and see the interviews after and see if any of the animals tell you.
And see if the animals tell you. Sorry, I'm trying to see it, and none of them are showing it really like the way that. Oh wait.
The video.
Yeah. I was skipping it too much, I think, and then but it's just I don't know. Yeah, none of these are actually showing this. That's really annoying. Whatever. I might have to go to a website that
you might have to go deep like a diver on it.
Yeah,
they might not be able to show that on YouTube. I saw it on TikTok. I saw it on TikTok on Instagram.
Oh, fun.
Not the hyena one. That classic gateway.
Yeah.
John Clemens. The next Mutation episode sucked when you get sidetracked by exploding hippos. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is the first. I think this is the first time for us to not actually. Oh, and I'm sweating. Look at that. Goodness gracious.
Oh my God. Pit stain. Woo. What's wrong with you, bro?
I don't know. Is all the turtle soup hotness like that? The soup is hot.
Oh, that's true. It was slaving over the hot stove, bro.
Exactly. But yeah, this has been the first time that I think we've had 2 ones that we just didn't feel really.
There's just nothing on the bone.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember the last time we had an Next Mutation where I was like, this blows.
Yeah.
Like we might have had one episode, but then like there's still enough redeeming where we can go, you know what? Like whatever, but there was like just nothing here.
Yeah. Well,
we want to go with Gorilla Interrupted.
I think Gorilla Interrupted is pretty good. So
that shit's hilarious.
So yeah.
Because it's funny, it's a pun, and it's also true to the episode,
right? So
because like they did interrupt that girl was just chilling, and they went in there and caused the trouble themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm good. I'm good for that. So thank you, John. Man. All right. So I think you need to say it though.
The Gorilla Interrupted.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you want to give me a southern accent, or do you want to do like what do you got? You thinking about anything?
I might try it in like movie guy voice.
Oh,
and then
movie
you just
guy
direct me from
voice.
there.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. And then this is 3:15. Yeah. So, all right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Turtle Soup, episode 315.
Gorilla interrupted.
That's pretty good. Can you expound upon the gorilla? Like like draw that out a little bit?
Okay.
Like give me a little bit more. There wasn't any meat on these bones. Can you give me some meat on that bone? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to do that.
All right. I believe in you. Wholeheartedly. Turtle Soup, episode 315.
Gorilla interrupted.
Perfect. That was excellent.
You think I did it?
Oh, I think you totally did it. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
well, that's good.
Yeah. Because I mean, I don't know. That reminded me exactly of like what was the thing you made fun of me for? You thought that I had just discovered it, and it sounded like I had, but what I meant, I had just started watching it. Like seriously, what was it?
Hold on a minute.
Honest Trailers.
Hold on a minute. Yes.
That's what it was.
Yes, that time you brought Honest Trailers to the podcast.
Right.
And you're like, dude, but the tone of it was like, bro, this new shit just dropped.
Right.
And I'm sitting there going like I've been watching Honest Trailers for like 4 or 5 years. I don't know. You're like, I've been on this Honest Trailers. I'm like, do I say anything about that? Like, do I like... Because you were bringing it like, yo, bro, that, New Cupid.
Yeah,
and
that's
like,
what it sounded
I don't
like.
think that's not New Cupid, bro.
Right.
Like, I mean, I understand the whole like, I just got on this.
Right. Like I went down the rabbit hole. Right.
I'll run that plan. Like, I'll just get on something that's like old as hell. And I'll be honest, I think that's actually really great. My main listening right now, like podcast wise, has been shout out to Let's Read. Podcast, which is a guy who reads Reddit stories in a really good voice.
Okay.
Like he has a mixture of like kind of professional, but also kind of sounds like a real person. He's a really good narrator. And the best thing about, and the reason I say just on it, is that show is like as old as our show.
Oh.
As old as shit.
It's like 10 years.
And he has like all these 2-hour videos, like 25 Reddit stories or whatever.
Jeez.
And they just go on and on and on and on and on. I have not repeated one. And I've listened to so many episodes. I'll just listen to it all the time.
Goodness.
Like I'm driving, I listen to it, doing dishes, playing, some baseball and video game, riding my bike. I just listen to it. And here's the best part about Reddit stories. This is my hard sell.
Okay.
Sometimes they're actual stories. Sometimes like the tone changes and he'll talk about like a real crime. And you can tell because it's always from like a third person. It's like, oh, Bobby Miller walked down the street and disappeared, but they wouldn't know until much later. You're like, oh, okay, this is just a creepy story, like a real story.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's just people saying, and you really can't prove if it's real or not.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing about it, this is where I'm gonna make my hard sell.
Okay.
Is if you think it's fake, then it's hilarious because it's fake.
Oh,
right. Because like, if you think it, and a lot of these are scary stories. They're not just like, some of them are really interesting stories, but like most of them are, there's like stalker episodes, classic stalkers.
Mm-hmm.
A big thing on Reddit for a long time was like, I Hope We Never Meet, which was a big one. And I've even read those, but like a lot of times it's just people telling stories about people that they interacted with that were like creepy or weird.
Right.
And the whole thing is like, okay, so to the stalker my sophomore year, I hope we never meet, thing.
Right.
So they're either like obviously fake because it's like, oh, this girl's writing and she's like, oh, that's when, I got my boyfriend who, is 6'8", 330 pounds, and he was a linebacker in college, and you're like, bullshit, right? No. But that's funny as hell because the first comment on the video will be like, my boyfriend's 8 foot tall, 3,000 pounds, former, former Marine Navy guard or whatever. It's just something made up. And you're like, oh yeah, like whatever. Or it sounds real enough and you're like, oh shit, that could be real. And that makes it interesting.
Yeah.
So either way you win. It's kind of like if it's a shitty movie, you make fun of it. If it's a good movie, then you like it.
Right.
So yeah, let's read.
Either way,
there are a million episodes of that podcast on YouTube. Like an actual billion. And I've listened to it a lot. And I really enjoy it. Well, they're all awesome. Reddit stories. They're really cool. But back to the main point. That's something I just got on. And there's a lot of listeners to the show are probably like, bro, Let's Read is like, oh my God, that's like the ABCs of like YouTube podcasts. And I'm like, well, hey, I didn't know what it was. I just got on it and I enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. I mean, you did 2 today.